In our last video, we looked at the library inside of MyMIDI Player, and while the library makes the software efficient to use, the playlist is the part of the software that makes it easy to use when it comes to playing the music. So we will, in this video, have a look through the playlist and how to manipulate the songs that you want to use on any given day. So let's go. Okay, here we are again in MyMIDI Player, as we'll find it when we first come into the program. Here is the playlist area, and there are no songs selected. As we saw in the last video, if we go into the library, here is the most efficient way for us to find songs and add them to the playlist. Now, I'm not going to be particularly careful about this, what songs we select, but to say if we double click on a song, it goes to the playlist. If we click on one song, hold down the Control key, click on another song, and hit Add to Playlist. View the playlist, yes or no. If we say yes, there they are, they've been added. If we're in here and for some reason we decide we want a series of songs, hold down the Shift key and click on the other end of the selection, Add to Playlist, and in they go. So it's that's quite usual for selecting multiple things from any list. But if you've selected multiple, Add to Playlist over here is the way to get them all in at once. Any selection here will do for our purposes. So here is our selection. You can additionally add things that are not in the library, MIDI files or even MP3 files, WMA files that are not known to the library. You can add them using the plus sign, and it will ask you to go and find those files. Or in fact, you can drag them from Windows Explorer, drag them and drop them anywhere on MyMIDI Player, and it will add them to the playlist. That is to say, don't drop them on the library window, that won't work, but anywhere on this window, and it will add it into the playlist. It won't know about it like it knows the things in the library, but it will still read the name if the name is held inside the file, or it'll display the file name for you if it can't find a song name. If you wish to delete things, you can click here, or the minus sign, or the delete key. All of these things will delete from the playlist. If you want to clear in one hit, you can do that here. We'll ask you to confirm it, but you can clear the playlist in one hit if you wish to. For the sake of what we're doing, let's just add a bunch of songs back into the playlist. This icon here is a way of selecting. If I were to say that, click there and then click there, it would select that song to be played. But actually it's far easier just to double click on the entry in the list. Or you can click on something and go enter. All of those things will select the song to be played next. Coming back to the edit button shortly as a separate discussion. If you want to move something that's in the playlist further up the playlist, you can use these arrows, or if you hover over it, you can see the shortcut. Control and the up arrow will move it as well. So here I am pushing it up using Control up arrow. You can't see that, but that's what I'm doing. So you can manipulate the position of songs in the list very easily, either with Control up arrow and Control down arrow, or using these buttons. Let's just select the item at the top. I double clicked to select the item at the top. Now by default, these buttons at the bottom are not set to automatically play. You have to hit the play button to play, and it is not set to loop. So when it gets to the end of a song, it will stop. It is set to automatically progress to the next song. So what will happen by default is what you would want in most church services. It's going to play the song that's next set to play. When it's finished, it will move on to the next one, but not start it. and wait for you to click play. So that's by default what will happen. So here we go, we click play, and it's off playing the first song. Now I'm not going to wait for it to do this whole song, so I'm just going to tell it to go to the end. And what it does at the end of the song is it stops playing, it moves the marker on to the next song, selects it to be played next, here's the name at the top, but waits for play to be pressed before it plays it. Again, I'm not going to wait, I'll tell it to go to the end. It moves on, selects the next file, just quickly. That will select the previous song in the playlist. This will take you back to the start of the current song that's playing. This will stop the current song and will not progress the playlist. This will play the current song, or if it's playing, it will pause the current song where it's at. And that will take us through to effectively the end of this song and select the next song. So that's what the markers up on the play line will do. Now I said we were going to come back to the edit button, and this is one of the unique features of MyMIDI player, is the edit facility. And the next video in the series is devoted to the edit function, so we're not going to deal with that one here. These buttons across the bottom, how very interesting they are. This save function will save the default playlist. It is exactly the same as if you exited the program. That will automatically save the default playlist as well. And when you reopen MyMIDI player, it will reopen it with this default playlist automatically restored. There's nothing you need to do. When you exit, it automatically saves it with all settings that you might have altered along the way. This second one allows you to save a separate playlist, a playlist under another name. So you can actually have multiple playlists saved at any point in time. And this next one allows you to open something other than the default playlist. The next button here resets the selected song to its default settings. And we're going to meet some of the settings you can change, but this button here will take the currently selected song and reset it back to its original settings. So what settings are these? Well, you're able to change the speed, the tempo at which a song is going to play. Let's supposing this first one, which was rather energetic, is too fast. You can change the pace very cleanly. If the key is too high or too low, you can modify that. If you don't want one of the instruments, you could turn it off. Or if you want it to be louder or softer, you can alter those things to suit yourself. Amongst the drum kits, you can even change it to a different drum kit. So you have quite a deal of ability to alter the way a song sounds. It will remember those settings for when you use that song. So all those things we changed, they're all changed. If we save the playlist, it will save all those settings. With this song selected, if I click reset, see, it puts them all back the way they originally were. Standard drum kit, the bright piano, all those things get restored to the way they were, barring any instruments you've turned off. So that's how all those functions operate to allow you to work with your playlist, the selected songs, making alterations to your selected songs, so that when it comes to time to use them in the church service, you simply start at the beginning, play, next song, play, next song, play, until you get to the end of the list. It is possible, if you want to use this MyMIDI player to supply music, background music in some setting other than church worship, you can set this to autoplay. So when it finishes one song, it will automatically play the next song. And you can set it to loop. So when it gets to the end of the list, it'll actually go back to the start. And if it's on autoplay, then it will keep going round and round and round till you stop it. So it has those abilities as well. So there is the playlist and everything you need to know in order to manipulate, control the playlist.